How are you doing, first of all? Happy New Year to everyone. Welcome to the Executive Mansion again. We normally do a check-in. Those of you who wait when the press briefing starts, before you bring your gadgets in here, is not acceptable this new year. And we hope that all of you have done your signing, your attendance, because we're going to be very strict this time. Welcome. Hopefully the new year was good, or is good. Princess? Again, but they gotta be low. Yeah. Good afternoon, distinguished ladies and gentlemen of the press. I'd like to welcome you. This is the first one for the new year here in the foyer of the Executive Mansion, and today is January 9th, 2025, the second Friday, if you will, in the year 2026. Sorry, you know when you're just leaving 2026, pardon me. We'd like to welcome you, however you're listening to this, however you're viewing, wherever you are, whether you're in the counties or in the diaspora, we'd like to welcome you. Our press briefing, as you all know, when we started, is a way to keep the public informed of the happenings here at the Executive Mansion, the President's activities, his vision, his mission, and the programs he intends to do and what he's doing for the Liberian people as he was duly elected to do. So I'm always very happy to come and inform the public as to the workings of His Excellency President. And I'd like to thank all of you who are helping to do just that, especially members of the Executive Mansion Press Corps, all of you from different independent institutions, including the state-owned broadcaster, the Liberian Broadcasting System, and all of you who are members of the Executive Mansion Press Corps. So for this first edition, I'd like to again extend our deepest appreciation to all of you for continuously working with us in informing the Liberian people and being helping them to really be informed as to the workings of their government, of their president. And we're very thankful to all of you, your various institutions who've continued to do that and continue to do the work for the Liberian people. So in Liberia, we normally say Happy New Year, Minandaye. So I want to again say very, very, very Happy New Year to all of you. The President and Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces of Liberia, His Excellency Joseph Yuma Boakai Sr., is doing very well, very excellent this afternoon, as he is looking forward to continuing to the work. And as you all know, he did reach the Liberian people in a very powerful New Year's message that was done on January 1, New Year's Day. And he wished all of us, all the Liberian people, Happy New Year. Towards the end of this briefing, I will endeavor to really go back into the message as the President did mention. Our President did end the year, ended 2025, with visitation of his people, the Kingsmen in Lofa County. He visited Foinjama, Foya, Kolahun, and other parts of the county. And despite he was on a rest break, if you will, our president never took breaks. During that time in Lofa County, he dedicated several projects, engaged several community members, attended different events, all in the interest, for the Liberian people and the community there. Were very, very happy to see their son, their father, some their grandfather to visit with them and, spend the holiday. So whilst he was in Lofa, the people of Bomi were also craving for him, because he shared piece of him with Bomi as well, as someone who also grew up in Bomi and went to school there. But interestingly, also married a daughter of Bomi County. The president, along with the first lady, were both in Olofa, and then the county, connecting with the children, connecting with other family members and his in-laws and other officials as well. Because despite, it was winding down the year, but he continues to work diligently to do the workings of the Liberian people. And that work particularly doesn't stop. It continues, it's ongoing, and he's very happy to work in the interest of the Liberian people. Following that, the president was back in Monrovia, where he continues to meet the Liberian people, meets particularly his officials of government, engaging with them, getting updates as to the different sectors, as to the workings, as to what they're doing, as to getting briefing on the different sectors, seeing particularly in key sectors, understanding what's happening in the agriculture sector, with the investment sector, following up with the issues relating to the mining sector, because there's serious potential for investment, but more so with the current ongoing activities to be able to help with job creation, as that is his focus. So this afternoon, today, His Excellency the President, he will be bidding farewell to members of the diaspora. But before we get into the activities of the event this afternoon, I'd just like to again throw light on what the president has done since his ascendancy to the presidency for the community, especially the diaspora. For him, the diaspora community play an important role for the people, an important role for the community and the country, an important role for the community, an important role for the country. And he took the diaspora heads on, particularly opening an office here at the Executive Mansion, the Office of Diaspora Affairs, where they are in charge of all activities of the of the diaspora. And he appointed at an equivalent of a deputy minister, a coordinator of the diaspora office. And whenever he travels out of the country, he engages with the people. He engages with Liberians in the diaspora. He engages with Liberians all over, particularly with the development, as we've mentioned, of holding the first diaspora conference for the first time in our history. His goal of that was to really connect the diaspora community to Liberia. So it's not just that Liberians who are across the world, not only in the United States, in the African diaspora, who would just come on their leisure, come on a visit, and just leave, but to really be involved, be active, be connected to Liberia, and more so really see what the community can do for Liberia, in education, in healthcare, in the implementation of their REST agenda. And so he continues to do that. So every year, beginning last year, they launched the Diaspora Annual Return. And that annual return normally engages the community, Liberians who want to come, or even friends of Liberia, or people who want to be Liberians or want to, live in Liberia. So the month of December, beginning last year, launched the year of annual return, where the cultural extravaganza, you go to the airport, they're welcoming the culture troop, the national culture troop is there, they're welcoming them. You have different activities, visiting communities, going to the investment forum, finding investment opportunities for Liberia, encouraging Liberians investments to come here. So, having done that this year, the activities continued. There was a major welcoming exercise where the vice president represented the president here, because the president was at the agriculture fair in Nimba County. And so there have been a number of different initiatives and activities happening. And in addition to that, following all of the different things that have happened with the diaspora community, and the president really very interested in seeing concrete, more concrete actions besides just the visitation, but more so in the investment, more so in calculating the contribution diaspora community makes to Liberia. So that is happening actively, and the president intends to continue that. A portion of the activities that they do is the annual return. And this year, the annual return started in December and is concluding, and this afternoon, he's going to do an official farewell. But that doesn't mean all activities of the diaspora is ending, because this is the farewell. This is just a component or a program of the diaspora office. So over the rest of the period, there will be different activities, different engagement coming in of different individuals. In fact, I'm sure you all have already heard of the coming in of another high-level influencer who will be coming to the country very, very soon. So again, we'll continue on that, and this afternoon that will happen. And following that, he will speak to the community and be engaged with them. Now, I'm sure you followed, and we'd like to again congratulate all on behalf of His Excellency the President, all our interns who did their best to apply for the Executive Mansion Internship Program, which was about close to 200 persons, following weeks of assessment, examination, and testing and interviews, came down to a final of 20, to the 20 young people, young Liberians who were selected. We want to, on behalf of His Excellency the President, congratulate all of you, and really looking forward to engaging with you over this year to see your innovation, your activities, your involvement in what, and some of the interns are here this afternoon. We'd like to, those of you who are here, want to welcome you and thank you, for your job so far, and we look forward to engaging with you and seeing what you can do. And as I mentioned before, this program is the president's own way of engaging the young people, particularly opening up the executive mansion to the young people, but also besides just opening the executive mansion up, to also have the level of innovation, the level of work, the level of excitement, to be able to tell the story of the presidency, but also the country. This program is an effort to rebrand Liberia, in telling the positive stories of Liberia. So these interns, some will be able to go to the counties, some are from the counties already, there will be regional coordinators telling actual stories, but also engaging with other sectors, working in other sectors to tell the positive stories of Liberia. Over the last few years, following the cessation of the conflict, Liberia has done tremendously well in terms of a recovery, post-conflict recovery, in terms of rebuilding, in terms of reconciliation, bringing the community back. And those stories need to be told. People in the world, around the world, rebranding Liberia, so that when you Google Liberia, when you type Liberia, when you TikTok Liberia, when you Instagram Liberia, when you Facebook Liberia, you see good news, you see positive information, you see great things that can come from Liberia. And these young people, these young men and women will help in helping to shape that and tell this story. So they will be working with the executive mansion, and they will also be, some of them will be also seconded to other line ministries and agencies to help, in their PR offices, their communications offices, because this is a project for sustainable development in helping to rebrand the country. And we're very excited, and the other partners who are interested, who have also reached out and they're willing to help, and those who have already helping, I want to again in this manner thank the United Nations Development Program, UNDP, for their support so far and their willingness to work with us, and other partners who will be joining in later on. We do intend to do this because this is the People's Mansion. This is the executive mansion. This is the mansion for everyone. So the young people here, the interns, and others who are working in the public affairs department will all be welcome to tell that story firsthand. So we'll, again, like I mentioned, welcome all of you in this manner to this very important role. As I mentioned to you earlier, we will remind, because this is something that His Excellency is clear about. We will remind all of you of the President's New Year's message. His message of peace, his message of togetherness, his message of oneness, his message to all of us to really put behind us our differences, our challenges, and work together for the country. So I'd just like to read for you again as a reminder, because the President is really keen on this message and he wants us to emphasize that to all of you. So the New Year message of national unity by His Excellency Joseph Yuma Boakai Sr., President and Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces of Liberia. This was delivered on Thursday, January 1, 2026. The President says, "Fellow Liberians, as we stand at the threshold of a new year, I speak to you not only as your President, but as a compatriot, bound to you by our shared history, common struggles, enduring hope, and collective destiny. Our nation has endured much. We have experienced division, hardship, and moments when our faith in one another was sorely tested. Yet, time and again, Liberia has proven resilient. We remain standing because the spirit of unity, through a time of strain, has never been broken. As we enter this new year, I issue you a clarion call. Liberians must move forward together, or we will not move forward at all. Tribe against tribe, party against party, county against county, and religion against religion are divisions that weaken us. They do not build roads, educate children, create jobs, or heal our nation. Only unity does. National unity does not require uniformity of thought. It does not silence criticism or suppress debate. Rather, it demands that even in disagreement, we recognize one another as Liberians first. It means we contest ideas, not identities, compete with policies, not prejudice, and pursue progress, not personal destructions. As I have consistently done, I call on political leaders across all parties to work towards lowering the temperature of our national discourse. Disagreement must never descend into hatred. Opposition must never become obstruction to the national good or a desire to harm or to befall our country, or for harm to befall our country. When it does, no one is spared. Leadership, he says, whether in government or outside of it, carries great responsibility, and we pledge to uphold that responsibility. I also call on our traditional leaders, religious leaders, youth, women, elders, and members of the Liberian diaspora to remember always that this nation belongs to all of us. The future of Liberia will not be delivered by one man, one party, one religion. It will be built through collective sacrifice, shared responsibility, and mutual respect. Let us embrace the politics of solution. Let us reject the nurturing of despair and recommit ourselves to healing, discipline, hard work, and patriotism. Let us renounce violence in word and deed and choose peace, not as a sign of weakness, but as a measure of our strength. We extend our sincere gratitude to our partners in progress who continue to stand with us, supporting Liberia through each challenge we face. We reaffirmed our respect for appreciation of and judicious use of their contributions as we pursue our national development agenda. Compatriots, he says, the new year must mark another turning point, away from complaint toward contribution, from cynicism to embrace, from rancor to calm, and from division to unity. Liberia is greater than our differences. The dream of a stable, prosperous, and dignified nation remains alive. What is required is all of us. As one of you, the president says, have entrusted with the great honor, as the one you have entrusted with the great honor and responsibility of serving as president, I recommit my pledge to govern with fairness, to listen with humility, and to serve with integrity. In return, I ask that you believe again in Liberia, to invest your energy in nation building, and to see one another not as enemies, but as partners in progress. May the new year renew our love for country, strengthen our resolve, and bind us together as one people with one destiny. God bless all of you as we continue to think Liberia, love Liberia, and together build Liberia, says President Joseph Yuma Boakai. I thought to just read the President's New Year message as a reminder of this call for unity, for lowering the temperature. Because yes, we've heard different connotation, and the President's New Year message wasn't only to a certain group of people, but all of us, including us in government as well. Because he says, for Liberia to move forward, it requires all of us collectively. So thank you for coming. I look forward to taking your questions, and happy New Year. Wishing you a wonderful, wonderful 2026. Thank you. So as regularly, you'll state your name, your institution, and your question. Thank you and good afternoon. Yes.
Good afternoon, Madam PPS. For those in the diaspora might not know, when we say PPS, is Presidential Press Secretary. Good afternoon and Happy New Year. My name is Yugbedi Masale, and I work for Sky Communications, Sky FM and Sky Television. If you are to retrospect 2025, January 1, 2025 to now January 9th, 2026, what will you say about the president's achievement and his challenges? Besides that, people were jubilating when His Excellency visited Lofa County. There were some citizens of Lofa that are asking His Excellency to give Mount Wologisi to be used maybe by the United Arab Emirates and other companies. Is the president thinking on that, because we have Mount Putu and also Mount Gibi to be also explorated? Thank you so much.
Madam Press Secretary, my name is Anthony Jeffan. Thank you for a presentation. Happy New Year. Few concerns quickly. One, recently, the president of Venezuela was arrested by the U.S. charge. Liberia is a member on the UN Security Council. The president has a representation. What has he said? Because you are close to the president, you listen to him daily, and you are here to inform us. What has he said about our situation? That's one. The next question is, The president spoke with the U.S. president recently, and I think since he spoke with the U.S. president, this is the first press briefing. What was in that conversation? What is there beneficial for Liberia? And finally, Madam Press Secretary, the situation in Lofa County, particularly with the alleged 10 million project. The president spent the Christmas season there in Lofa. The president did not go with any member of the executive mansion press corps, and that was a concern by the public. Tell us, what is the real story as the press secretary behind that project? Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Fofana, and Happy New Year to all of you and colleagues of the Executive National Press Corps. My name is Sompo Stephen. Madam Fofana, recently the President, His Excellency President Waka, visited the Baochiku, and reports coming out of that area point out the welfare of workers. They point out that labor practice, talking about the concession signed with the president, employment, and other issues. Is the president taking in that direction, Madam President? Very care to tell us about it. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Madam PPS. My name is Prince Sai, and I report for the newspaper. Whenever we, as journalists, take our microphones around citizens, always complain that the president has done nothing to address the bread and butter issues of the country. How can you respond to that? That's one. Two, we are in 2026. What should citizens expect from the president? Thank you.
Thank you. So we will endeavor to respond to the first batch, and then we can go around to do another batch. Okay. Beginning with Yugbene's question, and thank you, Happy New Year to you, Yugbene, on looking back at 2025 and to now, 2026, what were the challenges and the prospect? I'm not sure you have the time today to address all of the successes and also talk about the challenges. So however, I endeavor to just, but also, as you all know, the last Monday or the fourth working Monday of this month, His Excellency will report to the country. He will address the country and speaking specifically as to the progress he's made, those projects and programs he's implemented, also the challenges, and I'll let the president, really tell the Liberian people exactly where we are. But, one thing I've always said, even when and I'm on other platforms in the media during interviews, development is not something that you can intellectualize. Development or progress, you can speak all the beautiful English, you can see everything, but the people themselves who are the end users of this development or these developments are the ones who will testify to what's going on. I say this to mean that we all know the challenges this government or the president inherited from the last administration and what he's done so far, just under 2 years. He will be officially being the second year in office. On his 22nd will mark exactly 2 years since he took over. But however, he's done tremendously well on infrastructure development, on restoration of electricity, on water. And I like to tie in your question to Prince's question as to people who say nothing has happened. And I've always said that, we live in a democratic space, and the president is someone who supports the tenets of democracy. He's open to criticism. So people, regardless of what you do, will have a disagreement. You can even make the entire Republic of Liberia put glass on all the roads and create food and do everything. People will say, oh, it's too slippery. Oh, some people will fall. But I'm saying this to mean that progress takes time, but we see the effort. The Liberian people see the effort of the president and the government, what he's doing. The restoration of water supply in key places. The provision of food, someone say bread and butter issue. Back then, we used to complain a lot about the cost of rice. Everything we say, oh, the rice price is high, rice price is high. But today, that is not the conversation anymore. The rice price is low, it's affordable, and it's available. Gone are the days where people used to sleep in front of stores waiting for the store to be open. When you want 10 bags, the store tells you, I can't sell you 10, I will give you 2 because I have to sell to others. Gone are those days. Rice, readily available, that is the staple, that is the bread and butter issue. Somebody said bread and butter, but the commodity that is made with the bread, just to be simplistic, the flour costs have been reduced. That's the bread. That's what they make the bread out of. So, and the butter now, and our president normally jokes that he's not looking at just being on the periphery or just bread. You just want to eat bread and butter. Butter is not as healthy. You want to generate or go upward to maybe jollof rice and chicken, you know. That's what we're looking at now. Bread and butter, that's the conversation of the past. So we're thinking jollof rice and fried chicken. Maybe not a fry with the oil, but something healthier, country rice, if you may put it that way. But this is to say that the government is working hard. The president is committed to doing that. And this year, the president is highly committed to ensuring that the work is done. He's had meetings with his members of cabinet. He's really been insistent on working very, very hard and making sure that Liberia becomes better than what it made it to be. Electricity, water, rice, education, the investment in the education sector is coming up. Healthcare, the facilities, now you go in communities, health facilities are being, augmented, they've been improved. Service delivery. These are the key things. When you say bread and butter, those are the key things. Transportation cost. Today we have public transport in key communities. Out of town for the very first time in many years. We have buses going out of town. These are progress. Though small, but they will get there. We will get there as a country. And the president is committed to doing that. So the question on the challenges, of course, there have always been challenges. And no development comes easy. But there are challenges that are not insurmountable, and he's committed to ensuring that he works diligently on those. On the question of people in Lofa wanting Wologizi as one of the countries reserved to be giving out, of course. So the people, if you talk with the people of Lofa, and even people in the development sector, Lofa is one of the counties that really not much in terms of investment or developmental initiative, particularly with at that level of exploration in terms of investment in the mining sector or other sectors happening there. And the community or the Lofens want the county to be developed. So the question is, we want our county to be developed because if we have a company here, some form of concession here, it will help provide jobs to people with his technical people and see where we are. Right now, as we speak, whether or not the president is giving easy to anyone, that conversation has not reached at that level yet. Yes, the Lofens want the county to be developed and the natural resources such as Wologizi that is there and other resources to be exploited, to be developed, but that conversation has not, gotten to fruition where, you can say concrete discourse or, agreement has been made. It's not reached that point. As to the president's comment on Venezuela, the president is the chief foreign policy leader of our country, and he has a team that works with him, inclusive of the Minister of Foreign Affairs, and the the team in all over the world, Liberian representation in the different countries. So on Venezuela, the government made an official statement. As you know, the government, again, as Liberia being elected to the Security Council as a non-permanent member, also aligns with the Africa Common Position, and that position was made very clear by the ambassador of Liberia to the United Nations, Honorable Ambassador Louise Brown, and that message, the president stands with the message. This message, the president knows about it, the president agrees with the message. It's not that, so it's a government message. It's a message of the government. So the president will not say something separate and the ambassador says something separate, so, but on Venezuela, that is the official position of the government as was given by the ambassador. This was very consultative. The president is aware of it, as well as the Minister of Foreign Affairs, and the president aligns with that message as well. As to the 10 million ECOWAS president, of course we've said this a number of times. The project in Lofa, Infoya, is not 10 million. The government made an official statement as to what the project is, what the cost of the project is, the contributors of the project. That is an ECOWAS project. It's a project that will be supported or is currently funded with goodwill from people within the region as well as ECOWAS. Yes, the president did visit the facility, and yes, the office did take a executive mansion reporter there, and I can confirm to you that Cool FM, who is a member of the Executive Mansion Press Corps, was present and also visited the facility. But as you mentioned, or as you have asked, this project, as we mentioned, is a security project. So the need to carry the entire Executive Mansion Press Corps wasn't necessary at the time, maybe now, because the project is still being constructed. When the project is officially dedicated, as we normally would do with Executive Mansion Press Corps members, we would have a designated team, and you always select who can go to go and do the coverage, and normally that's what we do and it will happen. But the president, just because he was visiting Lofa, he was in Foya, we went to check and make a tour of the project to see the construction, how far it's going, and especially that project is so important now. And I just wanted to spend a little minute just to talk about why this project is so important, especially because myself visited the facility. Understanding what's happening now in the region, in the sub-region, the current situation in the Sahel with Mali, Burkina Faso, Guinea have had an election recently, and the election of the current president. Our president will be visiting, will attend the inauguration, and will inform you when that happens. But with the different activities happening within the region, and even globally, it's very important now that African leaders will be able to meet even in a very secluded place like Foya, that is closer to the border with Guinea and Sierra Leone, that they can have exclusive time and engage and have a conversation and dialogue. If you visit the facility, you know that facility cannot even be a facility for one individual to call it a retirement place. It has conference facility, it has spaces for guests, it has spaces for different events, meetings and side meetings, and the whole 9 years of international conference center, how that structure can be. So definitely it's something that's needed. It's something that is important, and it's something that will be utilized, especially this time, and especially so many things happening within the region. But Liberia's election to the Security Council as a non-permanent member, what if Liberia wants to exclusively hold a meeting with ECOWAS members, even with West African or even the African community? There can be a secluded place such as Foya that they can go and meet in that particular facility. So with the question of Bauchico, yes, the president did visit Bauchico prior to the new year on his way to Bomi, and yes, there have been conversation of allegation of bad labor practice. The president has taken seize of the matter. He's turned it over to the sector ministers to have a sit down and see what the issues are and work with the workers there and all those parties involved to be able to find a solution to the problem. Because for the president, his interest is to ensure that the people that are working for Liberia and Liberians who are working with these companies are treated fairly in the safety condition. Even in the closed door meeting that was held, these issues were raised and the president clearly spoke to them. He did talk about the issue of safety, the issue of job security, because some of the issues that the workers talked about was the issue of short-term contract, that they just come and serve for a short time. And if you're working with these kind of companies, you want some form of job security. And the president did talk about that. So absolutely, he's looking forward to getting updates from his sector people. So I will give you, for example, you had the NPA person, you had the Minister of State representative person, you had the Minister of Transport person, you had the Ministry of Energy was present because it deals with mining. You have the Ministry of Mines. You have other sectors were present, and also interestingly, you had members of the legislature. You had the Senate. You had the representative of the district were present because Bauchico is not only working in Bapolu, but it's in Bapolu, Bomi, and Montserrado. Where the current facility is in Royceville, which is Montserrado. So they're looking forward to doing that. And the president is looking forward to getting, update from that. So far, I think I already addressed the question of, President Donald Trump. I mean, when the president did speak with President Trump, they talk about a number of issues as the information that our office put out relates to our relations, Liberia and the United States. As you know, our relation is getting strengthened. And I saw over the last few days, they've been sharing countries that have been giving some visa restrictions, and Liberia is not on there. There have been a number of different things, support to what we're doing, getting updated, because as you know, when the president was one of few presidents who were invited to the White House, that relationship had been, building. We're talking about the MCC compact. So a number of relational issues between the United States and Liberia that were, discussed. And of course, the president, interestingly, our president invited President Trump to come to Liberia. So let's hope that that is possible. Let's hope that it happens this year. I'm sure you all, members of the Executive Mansion Press School, will have a front row seat when that visit happens. But yes, the president, you can never tell. I mean, you know what it means. And he was very excited. President Trump was very excited and said, of course, when he's in the region, he can talk with his people to consider and see what happens. I'm not confirming anything yet, but let's hope and pray it happens, and that will be very good with the relations between Liberia and the United States. Yes. Okay. So what should Liberians expect for 2026? I did talk about a few of them earlier on, but I would say Liberians should expect implementation of some of the programs that the president wants to do. Results. If you remember or you can recall, the first year of the president's office, when the president was in office, the very first year, it was a year to see, undo some of the things that were done poorly by the previous administration, to strengthen the area, to structure, to bring people on board, to get the best of people, to vet people, do appointment and see what the major challenges are and tackle them. The second year was implementation, as you saw or you've seen some of the different programs that are happening. The third year, I will tell you this year, 2026, will be a year of major progress, will be a year that you will see real changes in key sectors. Because this is a major year, the third year. From this year, there's 3 more years. But as we go to the other 3 years, most of our activities can be around elections and but right now, this year, and you will hear more of that from the president. You will hear some very powerful message from the president when he addressed the nation on the fourth Monday. Hopefully this will be on the 26th of January. And everything that needed, we're doing that so that he can speak to the country. And we will do our best as our office to ensure that all of you in Liberia, in the diaspora, in the counties, to hear every word, as the president will say. Everything he will say, you will hear him, you will listen to him, and you will be very firm and clear on his message to the Liberian people. Okay, so we'll just take the last two. Okay. Christophina.
My name is Christophina.
Oh, Christophina, yes, Christophina, go ahead.
And I report for Prime FM. So, in August of 2025, the president suspended another batch of the Liberia Drug Enforcement Agency's officers or officials, and he appointed an interim leadership immediately. And from August, we are in January 2026, and the president mandated the justice minister to make a comprehensive report in 3 months. 3 months have elapsed, and you have the officer in charge, Fitzgerald Biago, suspending or dismissing 2 officers yesterday from the LDA because of misconduct. So I want to know, has that report been made to the president, and will there be an appointment at the LDA come 2026 or as we are in this new year?
You want to be the one to at least give the others.
Yes, I'm going different.
You're going different, no problem. Let's get as many questions as we
Good
can.
afternoon, Madam PBS.
Good afternoon. Thank you. Many happy returns.
Thank you for your fabulous display of information. Madam PBS, the president often sounds discomfited that a regime will not face their country and allow all of swarming. I would like to know at which percentage of damage the President Ouattara meet Liberia, and at which percentage of damage a person intends or repairing.
Again, Madam PBS, my name is Anthony Jeffam. And this is my final question. The president and his political party, the Unity Party, that you campaign on the matter of prosecuting those who were corrupting, who have corrupted, and who corrupt the system. It has been 2 years now since the president was sworn. The question is, how many persons have been prosecuted? How many do we expect to get prosecuted? And how many persons have been investigated? Thank you.
All right, Madam PPS, my name is Yubene Masale again. For me, I'm going to sports. All right. We have the National Sports County Meet, where the president county were eliminated because of wrongdoing. And I would like to know how the president feel and the county that eliminated the president's county is in the lead. So I would like to know, how does the president feel about this National Sports County Meet? Thank you.
You just want to say the president PBS county, just say the thing.
Happy New Year, Madam PBS.
Thank you.
My name is Master Talu, and I do report for the Liberia Broadcasting System. PBS. The president made a lot of trips, foreign trips, and Liberians are concerned about intangibles that those trips were able to achieve. So can you just maybe jot down a few of the tangibles that those trips were able to achieve last year? And the president is due to address the nation late this month. Can you bring us up to speed as to what will be some of the key things that he is due to address the nation on? Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you all for the questions. As to the dismissal or the suspension of the LDA officers by Christofina, as she mentioned. Of course, when the president was elected, he was elected on the mantra of doing a lot, including standing down on the issue of drugs and alcohol abuse, especially with our young people. And I can safely say the president have tried to live up to that promise. The very first time was to set up a committee inclusive of the Ministry of Health, the Ministry of Gender, Children and Social Protection, the LDEA, and others to work diligently, bringing up different programs and to institute measures, and even to an extent where the president and members of his government did the drug test. That was a symbolic show of how serious the president is, or was, or it still is, on the issue of on the fight against drug addiction. And LDA as an institution, since the president's inception or since his presidency, he's really done his best. That's why when individuals who have been given the opportunity to serve in that sector, when they're not doing what they're supposed to do, he took actions. He's dismissed, he's suspended, and yes, he's done that. And as you've asked, of course, the Ministry of Justice was asked to lead, the investigation along with other sectors, including the National Police and others. They've done that. So the president is reviewing holistically. And in fact, if you recently heard, with different actions of officers of the LDA, the president in Bomi, during the cabinet meeting, he did talk about the need for LDA officers to really do their work diligently. And it's not an opportunity to, do other things to members of the public. It's not a trump card to show that they're powerful, but to really work for what the president put them there for. So with the suspension or with the dismissal of those officers, they're all in the same light of working for the institution. So the president will take actions. And yes, the individuals who are there, they're acting. And the report was sent to the president, and he's reviewing, and will get back to the public as to the decision. But yes, there will be transformation at the LDA, or specific actions at the LDA. As to fixing the country, my dear friend, colleague, where is he? Ojuku, as to what percentages the president will fix, what was damaged. Institutionally, there have been challenges where the country came from. Our financial system were broken down in some instances. Reports, from even our international institutions or partners, organizations, who says some very challenging or damning thing about the country, where even our missions, our friends, in the diplomatic cycle, embassies came, they had issue with the previous administration with how resources was taken from programs that were supposed to be taken to others. So there were lots of different challenges that this administration met. Even in institutions were bloated with employees. Even here at the Ministry of State, for example, there were more people who were here who didn't have proper employment statuses. Some of them just came in with the groups and stuff. And those ones will have to be dealt with. Even there are places where there were not system. You come to different offices, there are no proper tables, there are no computers, no vehicles. So at the level of damage, those were places. In fact, there were institutions that were totally ransacked. For example, the NTA. Buses were burned down, buildings were in dilapidated conditions. You had trash or filth were filled in some places. Even institutions like the fire service, the Liberian National Fire Service, there were no trucks. There were absolutely nothing. In fact, people who were being highlighted to be appointed at places, they would say, don't send me to fire service, because those places, there's nothing there, But today, you have those institutions that have come up. Today, you have NTA working diligently. They've cleaned up the dirt. They're rebuilding. They have buses in the streets now, and they're doing very well in that area, and there are more plans to do more buses. So at the level of damage, you see that there were contracts, there were road work that was stopped. There were many things that were happening. So when this president got into office, he tried to work on those to clear the challenges. Places, in fact, Liberia stands internationally. When Liberia, as a member of the global village, you're supposed to pay certain levies, certain fees to international organizations. Some of those institutions, we owe them a lot of money. But today, Liberia has managed to help to clear out some of those debts. So when you talk about the level of damage, we can go on and on and on of what was met, and what is now, and what the government and the president was able to do to get us where we are. As to UP and the prosecution of corruption. So, of course, the issue of corruption is such that our president has taken actions. We've seen suspension. And the president as an individual, or even as the chief executive, is not the one in charge of prosecution. The government is divided into 3 separate and coordinated branches of government. And there are institutions that are responsible for investigation and prosecution. So if the president, in his wisdom and power, asks them to investigate, and they found some form of corruption or allegation of something, then the president takes action by either suspension or dismissal, and forward it to either LSCC or ask GAC to come and clear up or do an investigation. Currently, as we speak, there are several people. Back then, there are very few people who will even go through that process. So now you have institutions in the Commission on Disability. You have other institutions, the National Oil Company, and the list is on. But here is where the issue is. The institution that's in charge of investigating and forwarding to proper prosecution is the LSCC. And for the president, he's not in the business of interfering with the investigation process or with anything relating to that, because for him, he takes action and is going to the others. He, of course, asks what's the status of these reports, what's the status of these investigations. But there are instances where people have been investigated, or people currently under investigation, even with the MCC, and other institutions. So the president, for him, is really looking forward to, seeing what the challenges are with the LSCC. If the challenges are, because one of the other issues we've heard LSCC talked about is the implementation or, coming up with the criminal court, specifically dealing with these kind of issues of the corruption court. So once the corruption court is settled, maybe that way it will help speed up the investigation process. But as of yet, majority of the investigations are still with the LSCC, and the LSCC is doing what she can to do that. But the president has done his part to suspend, in instances dismiss, and forward them to LSCC or ask GAC to investigate. When those issues come up, the president takes action. As to the question of the counter meet, that's a good way to end today's press briefing, because, as the county in the lead, how does the president feel of low-fat county being eliminated? This is one thing I tell the people all the time. For the president, if it was actually left to the president on the county meet, most of us will feel like it will be lax, because for him, his idea is that people who are from the county should represent the county. So whether you first division, second, third, whatever division, but all players, if you say you representing Maryland, you should be from Maryland. People who are living in the county, you know. However, but right now, I mean, the county meet is our own of UEFA Champion League, you know, is that level. So how does he feel his county being limited? The thing is, the president is president for the entire country. You know, right now, Western Liberia is part of him, you know, because he's in Bomi. You know, he shares, he grew up in Bomi, went to school there, and Cape Mount and Bomi, you know, at least this year, we pray that Cape Mount takes the trophy. And we're very optimistic, because Cape Mount did invest in an Italian trained coach. And today, we can safely say we have covered all tracks as it relates to the technical component or the technical part of the team. Also, our girl side, Cape Mount. We covered every track. We covered the legal aspect. We've covered the political aspect, if you will. But to be honest, you know, the county meet is a place that brings everybody together. You know, county meet brings everyone together, whether you're from Maryland. I saw that my dear friend and sister Vashta did a very good sharing of a photo of me with cassava leaf from head to toe. That's part of the fun of it, you know, bringing people. You see politicians who are in different political parties coming together to support their counties. You know, it brings that unity. And for the president, for him, that's what is important. Whether it's Lofa, Cape Mount, Bapolu, Nimba, Montserrat, wherever, for him, even if it's Maryland. Unfortunately, Maryland decided to stay in, in Maryland this year. And one thing our coach has said, Cape Mount will never be an underdog. And next year. All right, but no, I mean, thank you all. But it's a good thing. Tomorrow, the county meet continues. And for the president, his message to everyone. His message to everyone is to see this as a moment of unity. That is the same thing he said in his New Year's message. And also re-emphasizing the issue on drugs addiction, that we, especially our young people, to alcohol, but to also continue the unity, to see Liberia as one Liberia, irrespective of what county you're from, what religion you practice, what. Dear you all, and have a good afternoon. Happy Friday, all of you.
All right, so folks, thank you for following. That was the presidential press secretary that giving for New Year briefing, highlighting all of the major achievements and challenges of the president and what Liberians do expect. Thank you for following. I'm Jorai. This is Prince Joe, Spoon Executive Management Reporter. Bye bye.